Hey, I'm Amber, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. Today I wanted to give you a little tour of my son's nursery/bedroom. He's one, so I guess it could be either. I'm gonna show you around and just briefly take you through the process of decorating and designing it. He actually did not have his own room until he was about 9 months old because we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, so for 9 months his room was our room, but I'm actually glad it worked out that way because we were able to make the room a little bit more like personal based on the things that he started showing interest in. I've heard some people say that there's no point in decorating a nursery when you're pregnant because you're probably not gonna spend much time in there anyway, since baby usually spends the first 3 to 6 months in your own room. And I completely agree with that. It wasn't until like the 6-month mark that I was kind of like, okay, him having his own room would be great at this point, but our lease didn't expire yet. But I think even if we had the option at the time to decorate a second room, I would have waited, and it's just one less thing to worry about while you're pregnant anyway. I knew that I wanted to do kind of like an animal jungle safari theme because Kai loves our cat. He loves going with me to the pet store and just like looking at the birds and the fish and the cats that they have there. I wanted to also keep things kind of more minimal, and I wanted to add a couple Montessori type details as well. So I started out by creating a vision board on PowerPoint. I really recommend this because it's a great way to, one, just get like all your ideas out so that you can see them. You can kind of stage the slide like you would your room. And then it's also a great way to see if the pieces that you have and the pieces that you want to get will actually go well together. So I would just like screenshot all the things that I was thinking I wanted to get, and then we actually only started out with 2 things. We had the crib and we had a laundry hamper. So I got screenshots of those and I put those on there as well so that I could see how everything went together. If you're like caught between 2 pieces, you can throw both of them on there so you can kind of see which one might work better than the other. I initially thought that we might have more decor items than we ended up with because when this room was empty, it just looked so much bigger than it actually was. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's tons of space. And then as we started to get things, I started to realize like, oh, okay, it's actually not as big as I thought it was, which is fine. A baby doesn't need a huge room. A toddler doesn't even need a huge room. I decided to make white the primary color, which I was kind of nervous about because I love white. I love the clean and just like open look that it gives the room, but I was worried about getting multiple white main pieces and having them not match. I've actually found that having whites that are similar but slightly different adds more like depth to the room. I think if they all were exactly the same, it almost would look too like perfect, but not in a good way. Second to white, we filled the space with lighter wood tones, and then we added in a couple hints of hunter green, which I think works perfectly for like the safari kind of jungle wild theme. I also tried to prioritize getting the main pieces first, so like the dresser, the rug, the lamp, things like that, and then to fill in the rest of the space with the decor. The first thing that we ended up purchasing was this hunter green baby Leto dresser, and when I saw this, I had that like, aha, that's it kind of a moment, but then I was struggling because it is a little bit of a statement piece. So I was going back and forth between getting this and a white one, even though I knew at the end of the day that this was it. Like I just kept coming back to this dresser. I wanted to make sure that it was going to be versatile though. Like I didn't want it to only work for this theme, but I think that this could be cute for a long time. And honestly, even if we ever had a girl and we wanted to like repurpose it for a girl's room, I think hunter green and blush pink go really cute together also. It's so cute. It's actually really well made, and it just adds a really nice pop of color to the mostly neutral vibe I have in here. We also were excited because this dresser has a changing table option, and we've been changing Kai just like on a little changing pad on our bed from the time he was born till 9 months old. which has worked fine, but our bed is very, very low to the ground. So I think as Kai started getting bigger and a little bit heavier, it's been a little bit more strenuous on mine and Alex's back. So it is nice now to have this option where we can just like stand up and change him. The second thing we got was this wooden caddy from World Market. I actually saw it on Pinterest and I knew right away that this was gonna be it. It's so cute, but it is really, really functional as well. Before, we were using for his diapers just a little plastic 3-tiered bin, and that worked fine. You actually can see that in my cloth diaper series. This holds so much more than that. Initially, I had his crib right here in the middle of this wall. That was how I wanted to keep it. The problem became that this corner over here was just kind of like a big empty useless space. I've seen people do like a decorative ladder, but I just didn't like that. We moved it over into the corner. At first I hated it. Now I love it because I feel like it just made the room a little bit more functional, a little bit more spacious looking, and also this actually has him further away from the AC vent. This is the hamper that we already had. This was actually just a coincidence that we got like a little animal themed one, but it worked out perfectly. It's really neutral, but I'm really sitting down here so that you can see the rug as much as possible. Area rugs are expensive, and so I knew I wanted a rug in here because I wanted it to be soft and cozy. I didn't want to spend a crap ton of money on a rug. So I initially went a little bit cheaper and I got one off of Amazon, and it was a synthetic rug. We got it and it was really cute. It worked really well, but it smelled like chemicals so bad. And I initially thought like, okay, maybe in a couple days it'll go away. We couldn't even close Kai's door because the fumes were so bad. And after a week, it was still really strong. So I was like, nope, return it. I decided to invest a little bit more money in a rug that has the OEKO text certification. I'm probably saying that wrong, but basically it's a certification where the product has been tested for harmful chemicals. So we got this one from Revival and I love it. It was definitely more than what I intended on spending, but I think it was worth it because there was no chemical smell whatsoever, and it is so soft and plush, and it's actually really easy to clean, and I think it's machine washable, but I am positive it will not fit in our washing machine. So this is the reason I'm actually really glad that we decided to push the crib that way, because it made a little more space for this corner with the hamper, the glider, and a little side table. I love this lamp that I found on Amazon because it's just got a very soft look to it. Like, I didn't want the lamp to take away too much attention from the rest of the room. We got this glider from Baby Leto. I mentioned in my things you don't need for your baby video that a glider is not necessary, and I stand by that because we actually have another glider that we got before Kai was born. It's downstairs and it's now just a part of our living room furniture, but he did not love the rocking motion up until like 10 months old. This is really nice. I think it's like a pretty affordable option. It's not necessarily the most comfortable because it doesn't have a high back, so like your head isn't supported, but it doesn't take that long to get him to sleep at this point, so it does the job. I also got this pillowcase. I think it's from Pottery Barn. I love this because it's just like a lighter shade, so I think it's a perfect accent to the dresser. And then next to the chair, we have this little side table that I got from Serena and Lily, which is super cute. I love it. It's really sturdy though, like it's kind of heavy. And you can see way back there, we ended up getting a sound machine. Another thing that I would say is not 100% necessary. The only reason we got the sound machine is because now I am using the iPad that we used before for my notes with my videos, and I do that while Kai is napping, so I needed something else in here to play the white noise while he naps. The next thing that I made it a priority to get were these bookshelves here, because as you can see, he's got a lot of books, and then a toy shelf. I wanted to make sure that we got something that would enable him to get his toys himself. I wanted there to be a clear theme, but I didn't want to get so many themed items and just like spend all this money on decor and then potentially have Kai in a few years be like, nope, I don't like this. And I also personally feel like it's nice to leave like some blank space. I think it just makes the room feel more inviting and a little bit more open, especially for like a smaller room. But we did get a mirror to hang right above the dresser. It's opposite of a window, and so I think that that just makes the space feel a little bit more light and open. Right next to that, above his crib, we got 2 animal heads, but they're plush. I also love these because if for any reason they were to like fall into his crib, it's not anything that would hurt him. That's something I think it's important to be aware of, because I see a lot of people who hang like picture frames above the crib, and I think that's never a good idea, like even in your own bed, because if that was for any reason to fall, that could be dangerous for your baby. So just something to be aware of. My first thought for the wall behind the crib was to do an accent wall using wallpaper. So I got all kinds of samples, and then as we started to get the pieces for the room, I thought that adding wallpaper was gonna make the room feel smaller, and I felt like it was just too much for such a small room. So instead, we decided to just get this vinyl text that says, "Where the wild one sleeps." It might be kind of small for the wall. I don't know, like there's like a 2/3 rule or something, but I felt like getting something bigger was going to take up too much space. So I think that it worked out really well. It's super cute. It wasn't that expensive, and it also is like a good themed piece, but like it's not too in your face. The last thing I got was a little bit of a splurge. I got them on Etsy. It's these little monkey curtain ties. I think it was worth it. I found some on Amazon that actually were a lot cheaper, and they looked more like stuffed animal-like, but I loved the knitted look of these, so I just went for it. I think they're cute, and again, it's just like another little nod to the animal theme, but it's not like too crazy, and there was no skipping these, and he actually likes to play with these too, so it kind of doubles as a toy. I am just like a little bit type A, and so I kind of stressed myself out over like every little detail, but I think that the end result turned out really nice. I love his room. Sometimes when I'm in here putting him down for his nap, I just look around and I'm just like, I want this to be my room. Here's the queen. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I hope that it gave you some inspo and showed you that you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and just fill the room from ceiling to floor with things to make it look cohesive and beautiful. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. I hope you're having a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!